Hands up who loves cheese. Woo! Both of mine are up because I love cheese. And today on My Left Frying Pan, I'm making not one cheese platter, but 3. Hey guys, I've always wondered why people buy imported cheeses, when in fact here in Canada, we have fantastic cheeses. We make cheese from sea to shining sea, and we make award-winning cheeses. Whenever you buy a Canadian cheese, you are supporting your local dairy farmer and your local cheesemaker. That's why I was so thrilled that the Dairy Farmers of Canada and I are partnering on this week's episode of My Left Frying Pan, because I'm going to show you how to create a cheese platter that matches your personality for 3 different occasions. I throw an awesome wine and cheese party. As a matter of fact, I'm kind of known for my wine and cheese parties because I always pick Canadian cheese. And I'm always looking for that blue cow, and that's your symbol that the cheese is made with 100% Canadian milk. And it also guarantees you a purity, freshness, and quality. Now, the other reason I'm such a great hostess is I always serve it with VQA wine, and that's your assurance that that wine the grapes were grown, cellared, and created right here in Canada. When I create a cheese platter, I like to use between 3 to 6 different kinds of cheeses. And if it's a big party, then I'll go all the way up to 10, because I like to give a variety. Now, people are always asking me, well, how much cheese do I serve? Well, the Dairy Farmers of Canada recommend that if it's your dinner, like this one, which is dinner for 2 for my husband and I, that is 250 grams per person. Now, if you're having a wine and cheese party, the same thing would apply, about 250 grams per person. Now, if you're having a pre-dinner nibble before you're going to have supper, then the Dairy Farmers of Canada recommend 45 to 60 grams per person, which is what's on this platter, and this is going to serve 4 as a pre-nibble. Cut the cheese into different shapes so you have more drama on your plate. I like to sometimes do it in cubes or maybe in triangles, but you want to add drama to the cheese platter. Another thing to remember is that you can use glass or wood or marble or even just a regular plate, and then cover it with a damp tea towel and store it in the refrigerator until about 45 minutes before company comes. Take it out of the fridge then, and then 45 minutes later, your cheese is cheese perfection. On a Friday night or maybe on a Sunday night when my husband and I are just sort of chilling, instead of making dinner, I'll very often just do a cheese platter for supper. And so I'm using about 250 grams of cheese per person, so about 500 grams between the 2 of us. Now, I like to use 3 different kinds of cheeses that are a little opposite. So I've got a Havarti, which is sort of on the milder side. I've got a really strong old cheddar. We love really old cheddar. That's a 4-year-old white. And then I've also got a smoked Gouda, so I've got another different kind of a layer of flavor. Then I usually add some kind of jam or chutney. This is a peach chutney, which is lovely. A little bit of fresh fruit, grapes is going to be nice with this. I like dried fruit. I love cranberries, dried cranberries. That's going to bring the sweetness out of a couple of different things. I usually have a pickled element whenever I do a cheese platter. I've got some gherkins. I like saying that name. A little bit of a gherkin. And then some nuts. And I've got some roasted almonds that are not salted. And this together with a glass of wine, you know, it's a conversation. We sit, we chat about the week or what about ever. And it's just a really lovely way to have supper instead of like slaving in the kitchen. Voila, dinner's ready. Cheese platter number 2. Okay, this is for 4 and it's a pre-nibble, so 45 to 60 grams per person. Once again, I have an element of nuts. I have dried fruit. I'm using figs. I've got olives as my pickly thing and hot pepper jelly as a kind of a condiment. And then my cheeses, I have Niagara Gold. It's a semi-soft ripened cheese. It's lovely. This is a maple cheddar. Very mild, but kind of a slightly sweet. Tastes fantastic with the hot pepper. I've got a triple Brie, because what the heck, of course you have to have a triple Brie. And then I have a blue. We make fantastic blue cheese here in Canada. And then one of my personal favorites now is a Muenster. It's a Muenster, and it's got a tangy, lovely kind of a bite to it. Serving once again with some crackers if you want to. And this is just nibbles and wine and chatting. Platter number 3 is for the person who loves Canadian cheeses and wants to push the envelope. And this is my kind of cheese platter because it's got a little bit of everything in it. This is for a party of 6 to 8. Never have not enough cheese. You always want to have more. Make sure you wrap it up in parchment paper and store it in the refrigerator. It's going to last. I have Devil's Rock, which is a creamy blue. It is a fantastic blue cheese. The one beside it is a Camembert, and the Camembert is sort of creamy, and you really want to let it kind of like get a little soft before you serve. And that's another great big tip. Always take your cheese platter out of the fridge about 45 minutes before you want to serve it, and then add all your bells and whistles. The next cheese is called Le Michabou, and Le Michabou has got a kind of a tangy thing going on, but it's a firmer cheese. Then I have Saint-Paulin, which is one of my favorites. It's sort of mild, but sort of soft, but not too kind of creamy. And then as a little bit of a spice, I've got a Havarti with jalapeno in it. It tastes great with Canadian honey, which is one of the condiments I like to use on some of my cheese platters. I've got a double Brie, always a great big hit. And I have Oka, one of our very famous Canadian cheeses. And then once again, a Cheddar. This one is from Prince Edward Island. I love it. I love Cheddar. Every single one of my platters have an element of Cheddar on them. So there you go, my variety of cheese to serve when you're throwing a great big party. Cheers. So many Canadian cheeses to choose from, so little time. Remember, when you're looking for Canadian cheese, look for the blue cow. That's your symbol that says that cheese was made with 100% Canadian milk. And then serve it with a VQA wine, and you are going to be the host with the most. For everything you ever wanted to know about cheese, go to their website, canadiancheese.ca. And until the next time, hey, give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment, write hashtag Canadian cheese. Tell me what your favorite Canadian cheese is. Let's have a conversation. Till next time, peace, love, and fiber. Oh, and a really good glass of wine and some Canadian cheese.